that game, we went into the game that if we win that game, we've qualified.
After the game, everybody was on the pitch. We were the World Cup, and this was just like, wow.
Yeah, I don't know how that feeling that we had qualified came about.
Immediately after we won the game, we were celebrating. We were on the bus going back to the hotel. And then they came back again and told us we have to beat Cape Verde before we qualify.
We all thought we had qualified. Then they said, no, you've not qualified. You need to go and win at Cape Verde.
And then everyone was like, yeah, it's another blow.
The excitement was up there, then suddenly it dropped. It dropped. So how do we sustain it? Our match against Cape Verde, we doubled the bonus from 4,000 to 8,000. Yes, we did that because we needed to win that last match to confirm qualification.
Having Stephen Appiah as a captain always make sure that he call his teammates. Even when we're in a club, our captain will call everyone just to let us know that the time is getting closer. Everyone have to be ready. Be careful you don't get injury and all.
Motivation was high, not only through the money, but the determination. We got very close to the players. I remember when we were traveling to Praia, as like I remember I joined them, we sat on the floor, we were chatting and explaining to them the implications of the game and the need for us to really win that match.
Cape Verde is away. We don't know what we're going to meet. Cape Verde, that time, their facilities, it's not good. So we felt, are we going to get good pitch to play good football?
Even when we arrived, where to warm up, it was difficult. There's no field to warm up. We find a place that was full of gravels, and we have to do our activities, warm up, throwing the ball, use the ball. You can't use football boots because it was gravels.
We've worked so hard to get there, and if we can't cross that line, then everything we did is zero.
By the time we played Cape Verde and the qualifier, I remember it was on a Saturday. We had to lose by this wide margin. Nobody really cared by that time.
We know when you compare player to player, we are ahead of them. We know. But we did not take it as a joke. We came in with all seriousness.
It was a difficult match, not because in terms of the players that they have. You have done everything and you have a last match to play and you are playing against Cape Verde. You ask yourself question, are they going to spoil our party? So we went into this game with a lot of pressure. In my career, I've never played under pressure, but this match, yes, I did.
There was no motivation like seeing the crowd coming to watch you, that you can perform. The stadium was empty. I remember the ball went out, I was going to take the ball and then the dog was chasing me on the field.
I quite remember we were warming up and then Sule Muntari came to me and he said, Ralai, look at their goalkeeper. Look at their goalkeeper trainer. He's an old man, he cannot even kick. We make Kono. And he shot Bekun. Trust me, his first ball he got, he had a shot like 40 yards. Go. So we told ourselves we need only goal. One goal, then we go for second goal, third goal. After 4 goals, then we decided, okay.
Another dominant performance from the team, and that meant that for the very first time in the history of Ghana, we will be at the Mondial.
Then after the game, the party started. Everybody was happy, we were jumping, managers were happy, players were happy, coaches were happy.
We're supposed to come down with a passenger flight because that's what we took. But Osafo Manfo, I quite remember, was the sports minister. He said, no, private jet back to Accra.
They brought the presidential jet. The presidential jet, that was the first time we sat in the presidential jet. But we really treasured that moment. It was a huge recognition for the team by the state.
It was crazy. I couldn't sleep for like 3 days. We touched down and you can see the country has gone crazy. It was first time for us to be in that major tournament, something that Ghanaians are craving for.
It was great. We came, the whole airport was full packed, and that was when we came and even went to hotel. A lot of sponsors start coming in.
The Black Stars is always loved by Ghanaians. They came in their numbers to meet the team. They received the players very nicely, and memorable occasion. I think that the players, all of officials and all of us, nobody will ever forget the kind of honor and dignity extended us by the people who came to meet us at the airport. And that was the moment to announce our qualification officially to the country.
Big welcome party at the airport, big energy. Then the planning started for the World Cup. It was a relief, you know.
All in all, we will say thanks to Ghanaians for helping us, because it was their motivation, their help, especially the corporate board who came on board to support us. And I would say thanks to anyone that was also part.
Hello and welcome to our continuous coverage of the 2006 African Nations Cup in Egypt. Today we kick off with the first Group D tie in the so-called Group of Death, with Nigeria facing Ghana.
I think that they say every misfortune is a blessing. The outing in Egypt in 2006 was a disaster.
I think the preparation, and also the injuries that came up to the players and not getting the right materials also counted. And then also we spent a lot of time working so hard for the World Cup qualifying.
Complacency, no. There was no complacency. I don't think so. There were quite a lot of injuries to most of our key players. Strangely, you know, in football, at every point in time in football, you need a bit of luck. No matter how well or maybe the favor of God or whatever you choose to call it. For this particular tournament, we just kept getting one form of injury or the other after the other, and some of the injuries were quite strange. I remember, was it Asamoah or so? We were playing a friendly against Tunisia or whatever it is. He jumped to head the ball, it just landed, and then it was going to be off for some number of matches or so. It was just happening all over the place, you know. So we didn't get the full, complement of our team.
And also the group that we found ourselves in was a group of death. You have Nigeria, you have Senegal, and then you have Zimbabwe. We
lost to Nigeria, who were our nemesis at that time. You know, it was a solid game. We were able to beat Senegal, which was also an equally tough game. Then we had to play Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe were out of the tournament already. The sad thing was that when we were traveling out to report, the Zimbabwe players were now coming back to the hotel after shopping. In our minds, but those were very interesting lessons in football. In our minds, we thought it was a fair complete. We were just beating them already, and then they came and it just happened we couldn't win.
We lost out. We did not qualify out of the group. We were beaten by Zimbabwe 2-1 and we couldn't qualify from the group. But somehow it was a good exercise that led to jettisoning of some materials out of the team and bringing on board new players. It was after AFCON 2006 that Laryea Kingston came back to the team. He was not with the team for many years. And at AFCON 2006, we didn't have some of our players. McLean was not there. Asamoah was not there. Sule Muntari was not there. And so it did not really represent the true strength of the team.
Qualification time we were a team. But 2006 Cup of Nations in Egypt were more of individual players. Some players who didn't even play the qualifier were also part. So we didn't get a pattern well.
We felt, okay, we have 3 points, or Zimbabwe, 3-0. We can beat them easily, 3 points. Then we got into the game, players are suspended. There is pressure from Ghana, so they have to change selection, and then so a whole different team played in that game. And then we lost to Zimbabwe.
It's a very interesting lesson. Those third matches in 4-team groups, especially when it's against the underdogs in the group, we've never fared very well against them.
And then I remember very well, that was the first time I've seen the Black Star wore a black jersey. And then we said, since that day, Ghanaians was of the view that, look, never. And Ghanaians at the time didn't see the need to criticize the approach of Djokovic on the day. We rather blame the black jersey.
We've never used the black jersey again. Ghanaians said it was a bad luck color.
But we are not too disturbed because we knew we had the World Cup some 5 months later to go and make amends.
Some of the players who went to AFCON, I think Yakubu Abubakar, Jotes Frimpong, they couldn't make it to the World Cup because they faced competition from others who were considered better than them.
And in that game against Senegal, I felt it's a situation whereby I wanted to take advantage of the situation because there was an incident that Diop rough tackle Stephen Appiah, and it's normal players will come and then defend their players. Everybody was there, and trust me, I was the last person that went on the scene. And then Abibeyi punched me, but the punch was too soft. But I felt, let me take advantage so that the referee will send him off, and then eventually they sent both myself and him off. So that's how come I was suspended for 3 games.
The FA did whatever it had to do. Whatever was possible within the body of rules and regulations governing the tournament. We did whatever we had to do. We didn't make any headway.
For me, I wasn't expecting that I would be out of the team. But at the back of the management mind, they felt, oh, our first time in the World Cup, there is no way we'll go past the group stage. So what's the point of taking me? But then again, they should understand that not every 23 players that goes to the tournament will be able to play. So over there, I felt they should have at least sacrificed, and then whatever I sacrificed to qualify the team, I will also enjoy it. But hey, it is what it is. It's past.
Then the second point of officials not doing much to get him in the squad. Mind you, we had a head coach at the time who was responsible for team selection, for call-ups. And maybe you may not have worked with some of us when it comes to these kind of things. But one thing, as chairman of the management committee, as vice president of the FA, and I believe to quite a great extent my president of the FA, Mr. Kwesi Nyantekyi, also did, was that we hardly interfered in the work of a coach. No way, no matter, just ignore the kind of things people write or talk about, but we'll never go to that extent. Now, the coach's argument at the time, we felt like should have been in the squad. We made a lot. The coach's argument was that, look, you guys are going into a tournament for the first time in your history as a nation. We were the 51st ranked team or so going to play against the 2nd, 5th, and 11th ranked team of the world. They are all coming with 23 players to play their 3 matches for a start. You, at your level, a minnow like you want to start with 22 players. That is number one. Mind you, on hindsight, we could easily say, oh, but we ended up playing 4 matches. But you would not have said that before June 2006.
The conversation was that we had enough opportunities to go forward. I can understand that conversation. I also understand Djokovic because he seemed to suggest that, look, he couldn't take that risk. But there were a lot of players who didn't play. So if you went with a sympathy conversation, I can understand.
The coach thought that we needed somebody who would be available to assist the team in the 2 first games. And so that consideration weighed against just bringing him to play 1 match. It was not of a decision to take Laryea as a person, but the decision to get somebody who will contribute to the success of the team. Laryea was one of the best players, no doubt, but he was not available for the first 2 matches. And you need people to be available for the first 2. Somebody could have said, oh, of the players who went, maybe 5 or 6 of them did not even kick the ball. And so, but the expectation was that all the players who went there were eligible and available to play all the matches. So if we went there with a disadvantage for 1 player who couldn't play 2 matches, the team was already short by 1 player. So all these considerations came, but the final decision was that of the coach.
Because he did not want to gamble and go with a limited squad, even if it's just 1. and then be eliminated by that. If he had done that, we would be the same people saying we took somebody to a tournament who could not play the first 2 matches. What if we had lost the first 2 matches? You get me? So sometimes I believe it's painful. Laryea is my personal body. You know, so there was no way I was going to be somewhere for Laryea to be given an unfair treatment. Especially when I knew the sacrifices he had to do. The issue with Habib Gueye also, the Senegalese, it was because he was going to the defense of Stephen Appiah. Before the World Cup, I remember we went to Portugal to go and look at possible camping sites. Myself and then Coach Dukovic. On the flight back, I remember I was even sleeping also. He came to pat me and then he gave me a piece of paper and pen that I should write my 23 players if I were to be the coach. I said, oh really? Was he also going to write it? He said yes. So he went back and then I wrote mine. After we were looking at it. I'm saying it today. We were almost fully agreed on about 22 or so. The only point of contention was Laryea, who was on my list, and another player who was on the coach's list instead of Laryea. His rumor was that it will not be good for Ghana to start a tournament with 22 players.
Yeah, it was tough. It was tough. And I believe every human being will feel the same. You know, something that you work for.
I feel sorry for him because he played a major part in that. But that's the beauty of the World Cup. There are storylines. You know, someone's bad moment is another person's good moment. We never thought that Hamidu Dramani will make it to the World Cup. He went and he scored a goal. There are lots of things that denies players World Cup. And for Laryea Kingston, I can understand why for him that's such a regrettable moment. But it was difficult. You know, I thought he should have gone, but these things happen in football and you live with that.
We had a business plan for the FA, which was drawn up in, I think, February or March 2006. And the target for the World Cup was the second round. It was written in black and white there. We said this was our maiden World Cup. We cannot go and pretend to be one of the best teams. So, of course, many people didn't give us a dog's chance.
Let's go play our game, enjoy ourselves. Let's not get ourselves embarrassed.
We went line up a few friendly matches against Turkey, against Jamaica and South Korea. The results were not very important, but we recorded wins.
Eventually, when we went to the World Cup, you could understand why people wanted it that badly. Hanover was our first game. The sense of nationalism. You know, there were tears in the Ghana stand when the national anthem was playing. We saw Stephen Appiah on the live screen, you know, with tears dripping down his face while the anthem went on.
Well, 2006 World Cup, our Ghana first match against Italy. We were inexperienced at that time, although we have two senior players like Sami Kofo and Otuado, and also I would say Matthew Amoah and then Stephen Appiah. But the rest of us were just coming in, having fun. I mean, playing against Italy.
I was mightily scared of Italy, but there was this day, the day of the match. I remember after breakfast or so, and these boys were just laughing. They kept laughing at me that I looked scared for the game and that they were going to beat the Italians. Then they were mentioning, you know, at the time I think we had about 5 or 6 of our boys playing in Italy. You know, they were speaking in Italy. They were mentioning all these names, and I said, these guys must be crazy to think of going to beat these guys. But anyway, I couldn't dampen their spirits, and then they were in high spirits that they were going to match the Italians good for good. They knew them so well and blah, 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 blah. So we went into the game, and of course we lost, but I don't think we were embarrassed at all.
We worked so hard, but they were lucky. I would say that. They were lucky, we were unlucky to lose to them.
Prior to the game, we were not so much interested in the results. If we had won, we would have taken it. But we wanted to see how our boys will go on the world stage and showcase themselves. And look, we didn't disgrace ourselves at all.
Italians were very, very experienced in such tournament. And that tournament was our first experience going in. So sometimes experience counts, because If you look at 2010, it shows that Ghana was experienced at that time.
After the match, I was very disappointed. Then Franz Beckenbauer, the German legend, he said, Mr. President, don't be worried. Czech Republic and USA played the first game in our group before our match. So he said he watched the team. And from the display that Ghana had put up in our game against Italy, he said we were better than Czech Republic, that we would beat Czech Republic.
We camped in the small German town, Rzburg. Very nice people, very pleasant guys, wherever they are. If they hear this interview, once again, we say a big thanks to them for the reception they gave us. On our way out of Rzburg to Hanover, the kind of treatment we were accorded at the airport was excellent. You know, through the town to the airport, and it was quite okay. We went, and then as we were coming back, we saw they had actually mounted, there were some men in uniform. As the plane was landing, they kept doing this, you know. So I was like, what was going on, you know? When we got down, not knowing the guys had come to do that, to welcome us. Even though we lost by 2-0. And then they took us to the town yard or whatever it is. There was a massive gathering where they gave us a huge heroes welcome. You know, so all the way on the bus going to, I said, shit, Charlie, this one too, we are going to play Czech Republic. That was going to be our next game. The boys were kept so Charlie, with the kind of reception these guys are giving us, there was no way we could go to the Czech Republic match in Cologne and come back with a defeat. You know, so that kind of put our mind somewhere at the level where it was during the qualifiers in Ghana. You know, so that was the Italy match was unfortunate. We had there were one or two unfortunate mistakes, but that is football. We learn from all those things.
Djokovic and those changes. Was there a point where you all thought, come on, Samuel Kufuor is the best defender in Africa?
So you see the kind of person you are talking about. Now, just suppose that against the Laryea Kingston decision. He was a deep thinker. He consulted as much as possible. He would engage you, like I told you what he did to me on the flight and things like that. He will engage you, pick your mind and things like that. He will always encourage you to be at training. Every training session to watch your boys and things. At training, you could easily see what he was going to do. You know, so from the first training after the Italy defeat, I saw that, hey, this guy, he won't put Tuga for the bench. You know, it started and it was fixated on it. There was no way anybody could tell him otherwise.
Losing our first match to Italy and knowing perfectly well that in the group stage, you have to win at least two matches or win one and draw one. So looking at Czech Republic beating USA and then we losing to Italy, and then definitely Italy too will play against USA. So beating Czech Republic will give us a lift.
The Czech Republican, the fans, I felt they attempted disrespecting us. You know, they are not so far from Germany. So almost all the trains on the day before the match, as our team entered and were driving to Hilton Hotel, all the trains and buses were filled with their supporters, red. They kept singing and taunting our team and things like that, you know. So that was kind of a bit infuriating. So the boys responded in equal measure right from the first minute.
We had a plan of scoring a league goal. So we were like, first 10 minutes we have to score.
We introduced this interesting system where we sold our game tickets from the tabletops in our team hotel. So people came in from all walks, all Germans, they came in and then we were just giving them like that. With the German police actually came in to go and interview me and ask me questions about it. I said, well, we were given a stock of tickets and they were running out. People wanted to come and watch. Why not? That's how we do it.
Sulemuntari added the second. But between the two, we had many other chances. We could have scored them 5 that day.
Super game. The first victory of Ghana at the world stage at the senior level. And the manner in which we went about. Don't forget at the time, the Czech were run the second best team in the world. They had Podolski, Paolo Nedved, Jankola, Rozeski. They had all these guys. But look, go back. Makelesen and Sulemuntari and Stephen Appiah. I think it was after that game that FIFA themselves saw that we had the best combo in midfield.
Hands down, the best game I've seen Ghana play. Classic Jan. He could have scored a hat-trick in that game.
after Jan scored, so we played like 20 minutes. I was telling the boys on the pitch that, guys, I think that today is our day. We should continue on playing like the way we are playing. And we played them. After the game, I went to Paintsil. We were in Juventus together, and I was like, did you see the ball that we played with today? Was it Adidas or Nike? And he started, I cracked a joke and he started laughing because they didn't see the ball. We played like 80%.
That was a reawakening moment that we could go to the second round and even beyond.
The enjoyment in the team hotel. That was the first time in my life, pre-COVID, that I saw hotel gates closed. You know, they literally had to close the hotel because what was going on inside, they couldn't allow anybody to come in or out. You know, the dancing and drumming, and then we had lots of Ghanaian fans, Seekers, Dr. Kofi Amwa and the rest, just dropping watts of money on the hotel counter for people to drink whatever they wanted. It was so good.
I didn't understand. I saw a flag, but it didn't occur to me that that was the Israeli flag. I didn't expect it.
I did not even see it. It was after we had come to the team hotel that somebody called, and then Randy came to tell us that actually Paintsil went to wave this Israeli flag.
But there were serious diplomatic consequences for us. I received emails, threats. People were threatening even me who didn't play. They were threatening me with harm that I had allowed the team to demonstrate support for Israel.
So quickly we said, okay, I think Randy and Kwesi and a few people were tasked to deal with the issue, to work with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to see how best to do it whilst we concentrated on the team. You know.
I remember I had a meeting with John Paintsil, with the minister, Pappoe, to find out what motivated that behavior. You know, he told us he was then playing in Israel. And I think he had promised somebody that if the team won, he was going to show gratitude by waving the Israeli flag. He probably did not understand that this was a national exercise with diplomatic implications for the country. He saw it as a personal endeavor that he was undertaking. We had to explain to him, but you couldn't dish out any sanctions or anything to him because it did not really affect the team as a team, but it had implications for our relations with other people. You know, I got more than 100 emails that time, just within the span of 3 days. Why did we allow? I'm sure some of them belong to Palestinian groups. You know, they understood it differently. Very, very dissatisfied and very, very angry with us.
So it was handled, but then of course, the basic premise was that Paintsil was excited. It wasn't the political message he was sending through.
Our next match against the USA, we won 2-1, and we sat on tenterhooks. We scored the equalize. Then we began thinking what was going to happen at the end of the day. Are we going to draw and get out of this competition?
Essien to go into that game was 1 yellow card away from suspension. But I remember he spoke about it. He said, look, if he will get himself yellow carded and Ghana to progress beyond the group stages, so be it. So he went into that game against the US. We were missing Sule Muntari. Remember, Sule didn't play in that game as well. That was when we brought in Hamidou Dramani.
Dramani was our speed star. Dramani came to the national team, no looking back at all. He was very strong. One-on-one, he will come at you. Once you touch him, you are going down. He was a strong guy, strong leg. If you kick Dramani, you yourself will be injured. And he coming from the bench and scored that goal against USA. It was amazing because at that big stage and score that one-on-one goal, it takes great players to do that.
I mean, I quite remember when we were in the tunnel going to the pitch, I was telling the players that today we have to eat the grass because if we lose that game, we are out of the tournament. Yeah. So whatever, if we have, I mean, we played Czech Republic, we can do the same thing to USA. And we went to the pitch with some anger.
Right.
because of the interview Bruce Arena granted.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he disrespected Ghana by saying certain things. So we said we have to beat them. 1-1, 2 minutes to halftime. Razak Pimpong, the Nigerian guy, pull his shirt, and then it was a penalty. And this is a penalty that you know that when you spoil the ball for the rest of your life, you have problem with Ghanaians.
I mean, all of us, when you see that face, you know, yeah, guys, that's the moment. No one should joke on the field. Our captain is ready, and when he's ready, everybody must be ready.
So when the camera fell on him, you could clearly see he knew where he was going, how he was going to strike the ball in terms of weight and power, and he picked his spot.
And of course, he wasn't even looking at the goalkeeper. He was waiting for the whistle. He was looking at the referee because already he has a spot.
The goalkeeper, I remember, went to the direction, but the ball was planted in the roof. No chance. And Ghana was in the second round. First outing at the World Cup in our history. And we've gone past the group stage.
I always tell people that particular 3 seconds, I lost like 5 kilos.
Wow.
Yeah. And then where I took the penalty, that's where the American fans were. So the noise, they were trying to distract me. The pressure wasn't easy.
Already we knew that if we're able to beat USA, we are going to have Brazil. And that was an exciting moment for all of us, going to play against these great legends. So we were excited to play against Brazil. So whilst we were in the car, it was Brazil we were talking about. We wasn't even talking about USA, how we beat them and that. We were looking for it, like I said, we were picking one at a time. So our main focus now was switched to Brazil.
We went into the match without Michael Essien.
Anyone that watched the game saw how disappointed he was when the card was shown to him, because he knew he was missing the next match. And on the field of play, we didn't know that because we don't keep those records who have a double yellow card. It's until when we went to training and the coach was setting up his first 11, we saw that Mike will be missing that match. So it was a bit disappointing to all of us because he was our engine and no one could take that from him. And he missing, then we have to think about who is going to come in. And then we saw that the rzburg was introduced. And he also is one of the players who can keep the ball very well.
During the match, our coach was showing the record, you know. The circumstances surrounding the match were just not good for us. And we lost to Brazil 3-0.
These were ball-playing, footballers. So we needed to recognize that and tweak our game a bit, our system a bit, so that because they didn't have pace at the back, and with the pace of a Samoajan, Dramani, and we should have tweaked a bit, invited them and counter, especially when we didn't have Magalizen in midfield.
They were inexperienced. They were experienced. Because look at the goal that Ronaldo scored. We were flat at the pass. And then he did that, his leg over, put Lele somewhere, and then tagged the ball at the back of the net. We were playing all the game, they were scoring. We play all the game and they score. They did not play better than us. We play better than them, but they score. With
the exception of their goals, I think our boys didn't really disgrace themselves, and we took it like that. I remember when we got down from the team bus, Stephen Appiah was teasing the Olele. It was just that we were all just laughing around, you know. But it was good.
What Ghana could do at the World Cup, to go to your first World Cup, win 2 games, get through to the second round, was massive, massive. You can't miss because it has implications for your tourism, for the reputation of your country.
Let me tell you, it sold our country more than what. In September, October 2006, we went to Asia, Far East, to play friendly matches. We played Japan and we played Korea. That greeted the team all out of the World Cup was immeasurable. Ghana's cocoa, when we went to Asia, we were told that some of them had heard about Ghana's cocoa the first time after the World Cup. The demand for the cocoa increased. There were Ghana Tourist Board, Ghana Cocoa Board, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, all these state institutions had been giving resources to market our country. But the Black Stars did it better.
I think the biggest thing about the World Cup that we don't talk a lot about is how it enhances the lives of the individual players. I watched the World Cup provide a major spring in the career step of every one of those players. Maybe Asian at the time, a Chelsea player, so you can understand.
A World Cup can change the player's destiny in the game. Your career moving forward will change, getting clubs that you were not expecting. Then I was playing for Pappoe Tel Aviv, thinking that from Pappoe Tel Aviv I'll be moving to maybe one of the European countries, small teams, before I can pick up to England. But the World Cup pushed me straight to Premiership.
And that's why I always say, as a nation, we should never beat down ourselves when players say they're doing us a favor. But even for us as journalists, I mean, the World Cup was our making, because the World Cup really, really does change lives.
Qualifying Ghana for the first World Cup in 2006 was one of the biggest highlights in my career with the national team.
At that time, the average Ghanaian had a sense of pride. We were proud flying and waving our national flag. It brought unity. There was no division on political lines, religious lines, social or ethnic lines in the country. Everybody considered himself a Ghanaian.
For me, unfortunately, after the tournament, I had to go back to Israel and get my things, and then flew to England. So I couldn't follow the team to Ghana. But I saw the videos and then the pictures, the reception that the team had with the president and then the MPs, ministers, and the whole country, and getting awards, and also president giving us a motivation emirates and all. It was amazing.
That was when I realized Ghanaians really like their Black Stars. We arrived late at night, and then the following day, we were paraded through the principal streets of Accra, ended up at the Castle Gardens where President Kufuor gave us the medals. Yeah, it was after the World Cup. But we thank Ghanaians for that show, and I believe we still feel bound to bring back those kind of memories, and then I'm sure the FA and those in the Adjei of Affairs of the Black Stars will still be doing that.
It was the best moment for us. Even with the 2010 performance at the World Cup, we didn't get the kind of reception and recognition that was given us in 2006. When we came back, there was a state function, and they awarded us. You know, I received one of the highest awards of the state, which was Companion of the Volta. The players were given grand medals. Myself and the captain were given the Companion of the Volta. Even in 2010, when we came back, I was not given Companion of the Volta. The captain was not given Companion of the Volta. We were given grand medals. I received a lower state recognition in 2010 than in 2006. It was at that award that I remember when I was called up at the Castle Gardens, and I stepped forward, and they said, President of the Ghana Football Association. Then the President of the Republic at the time, President Adjei Kufuor, he remarked jokingly that when I'm here, there's only one president.
It's an important landmark in my life, and even if I choose to be modest about it, people always keep reminding me about it up to this day. Those were for a football administrator, I think it was a dream come true, but it also taught me a lot of lessons as an individual, that hard work pays. You definitely get rewarded for working hard, and of course praying to the Almighty to crown your efforts. And then quite a number of principles reign supreme in that. If you're managing a football team, no matter the level, you must learn to respect the players or the other actors, you know, because everybody has a role to play.
The key partners, the players, high level of commitment, dedication to the cause. The FA, united and work as a team. The government, solidly behind the team. The citizenry and the media were all highly motivated and resolved to support the team. So discipline was key, teamwork was key, unity was key. Togetherness and the oneness of the Ghanaian people was also key.